In this video, it's the love bug, HubNut and Herbie. This is going to be quite the interesting day. I remember these movies so much from a child, but it is also shamefully going to be the first test of a Beetle engine Beetle on the HubNut channel. I've driven an electric one, built by Electric Classic Cars. It's my first time driving an actual Beetle-powered Beetle. So I am really looking forward to this. So this Beetle belongs to my friend Tim. We have actually seen it before. It was at the NEC back in November, and if you look at my video at the end of people driving out of the halls, Herbie was one of those vehicles. So yeah, an absolutely iconic car. This one's got some deep dish going on. Obviously, you know, Herbie needs racing rubber, but Herbie in this case, just like the movie car, is a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. It's got the 1200cc engine, so I don't think we're going to be needing the racing rubber today, but you never know. We might encounter some race cars and have to challenge them just like Herbie did in Monte Carlo. Let's hope there are no Lancias about and Herbie doesn't fall in love. But yeah, beautiful shape, beautiful car, beautiful colour. It's got the full vinyl roof, which is a lovely feature. Opening rear quarter lights. It is a beauty. It's done up in the American style. It's actually a German market car, but we've got the American style rear lights going on, American style number plates. Oh, good channel, check that out. Got a little model of it as well. So yeah, it's all looking the part. We better talk briefly some Volkswagen Beetle history. They briefly started production in 1938, but soon all those Beetles, the early ones, went to the German army. And 1945, Major Ivan Hurst of the British Army helped get the Volkswagen factory back under way again, because obviously it'd been so badly bomb damaged. He was a man who fought ahead. He knew these people needed to be working, the country needed to function again. So he helped restart Volkswagen production. Famously, companies such as Roots and Morris were offered the car, the factory, all of it. Just take it. And they all went, no, this car has no future. 21 million Beetles later, they may have been left to rue their words, as the Beetle outlived most of their companies. But yeah, it's a fascinating car. This one's got the sloping headlamps, a very lovely feature. I think 1965 they started changing the mixture a bit and updated things like bumpers, lights. Went as far as having a 1500cc engine, crikey. Also a 1300, but like I say, this has the original 1200cc engine. It is not powerful, got the Pope nose, number plate light, correct for this year. Here is the engine, another Tangwoo Enterprise, there we go. So it's looking very smart. Obviously you can't actually get to most of the engine, you kind of have to go underneath, for it's a flat 4 engine. We've got 2 cylinders here, 2 cylinders there. And to get at the spark plugs, you can just about get in there. But to do rocker covers, you kind of come in from underneath. A tiny little carburetor, but one which has an automatic choke, which works. And yes, I am balancing this on my head because I forgot the stay is not currently fitted at the moment. But here is an alternator. That's an upgrade. That would have been a dynamo originally. You got shims, I believe, to control the depth of this, and that's how you adjust your belt tightness. Very similar to the Steyr-Puch engine in my Invacar. But yeah, there we go. We've got the hot air is blown by the engine driven fan over the engine, and then comes in to the car via there are heat exchangers, so you get some warmth allegedly. But yeah, a robust little engine and very smooth, as we shall soon see. Of course, under the front here, once you've released it on the inside, we have not brilliant access, if I'm honest, Herbie, that's terrible. We've got Herbie's correct display plates for when you really want that American look. Here is the engine stay, here is the fuel filler, so you have to fill it up under here, and a small space for luggage, but not huge amount. Now this should have a windscreen washer powered by the air in the spare wheel. We don't have that, we have electric on this one. But it's raining, so I don't think we're going to need it anyway. Let's go inside, for that would be a nice place to be. It's horrible out here. Beautiful interior, left-hand drive, because as I said, this one's German spec, but oh, it's just lovely in here. Close the door and listen to this. Really solid funk, and it really does deaden the sound really nicely. We've got this full-length roof, and it's all panelled in with a proper headliner. It's not, you know, a sort of a cheap job. Everything was done to a high quality with these Volkswagens, which is kind of why they got their reputation. Got an aftermarket rev counter down here. Maximum power is only produced at about 3,600 revs, so we don't need most of that. We've got a Bluetooth stereo that looks like the original correct one, so that's quite smart. A little clock added here, which doesn't work. Peter Thorndike, I think that was the character out of Herbie. And yeah, do not load the windows at speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour. We'll try to avoid that. Let's have a look in here. It's where you can hide your phone mount and some masking tape. Very nice. Oh, what's this up here? Oh wow, it's like the original handbook. Instruction manual for the sedan and convertible. Oh wow. Oh, this looks amazing. So there we go, 4-speed, all synchromesh, I believe, gearbox. But it does have a slightly peculiar action, but feels very good. Heater control is just down there. That's how you turn the heat on, and it comes along channels between the seats. Not between the seats, in the sills rather. Wow. How to drain the fuel. It's got a little strainer on the bottom of the engine. That's lovely. But yeah, really nice in here. It's just, isn't it really classy? You've got the Wolfsburg logo. That's the city where these cars were made. Winding windows, lovely action on those. Opening quarter lights, so you can stick your cigarette out and flick the ash away, or use the ashtray, which contains some extra knobs just in case you need them. Is that a cigarette light? It is a cigarette lighter. And up here we've got lights, side lights, headlights, and wipers with a now defunct washer. We've got a separate hidden switch there. It looks like a permanently live fuel tank display, a little speedometer ahead with change points marked. Yeah, it's really, really nice. You're probably wanting a wiper test, so we shall do that. Pop the ignition on, there we go. And the wipers are a little slow and a little, well, rubbish, really. Quite the triangle of doom going on behind this mirror. There's not very good overlap, but very much as they were. That was one of the other improvements that came in the late 1960s, better windscreen wipers. But yeah, there we go. We've got oil pressure is one of those, and the other one is your charge light, I believe. And we've got indicators down the bottom. Just lovely. The seat is quite comfortable. The pedals are a little offset to the inside of the car. There is a switch down there to put the main beam on as well. Oh, let's not cook the coil. Herbie won't like that. And yeah, sadly the horn seems inoperative today. It's given up on us. But yeah, nice little gear lever down here. Lovely precise action to the rear mounted transaxle. And unsurprisingly, it's a little tight for headroom here. The battery's underneath me, but you can also fold the seat down and there's a storage area in the back, but this one's full of speakers apparently. But we'll just operate this. Oh yes, lovely mechanism on that. Really, really nice. So yeah, it's all right back here, but for the children, absolutely no bother at all. And the children even get their own little ashtray. Marvellous. Okay then, I shall get my lap belt on. Better than nothing. So you've got the little Wolfsburg logo on it. Check we're in neutral, yep. And then it's just a normal key start. Come on, Herbie. And that's it, up and running with minimum fuss, apart from the mild non-start. Sounds absolutely lovely. Such a smooth engine, actually. Bearing in mind I'm coming into this, I'm a Citroen 2CV owner. So I'm used to a slightly different air-cooled experience. The pedals all hinge up from the floor, which is a little unusual, takes some getting used to. But away we go. So 1200cc, it sounds miserable. And you think, how on earth did the Americans lap up a car with such a tiny engine, but you'll see why as we get out onto the road. Huge thanks to Newland's Farm Shop and Tea Room here for a delicious lunch and for letting me use the car park for filming today. Thank you very much. I recommend coming to check them out. We're near Burton-on-Trent in just about Derbyshire, I think. But out we go. Well, I don't think we're going to win the Monte Carlo Rally, but progress feels much quicker than it is. That's 40 miles an hour already, and we're into top gear, cruising along quite nicely. So performance isn't really quick, but nor does it feel miserable. I find that quite surprising. I've never driven a 1200cc Volkswagen before. I think 1500 is the smallest I've driven. The ride, it's simple torsion beams, or torsion bars, sorry, front and rear. It's a little rambunctious at times, but not bad. Handling, yeah, the steering's nice and direct. One might slow down a bit for this one. A bit wet, have to be careful. But good torque. Listen, we're still in top gear. It's pulling nicely, making those classic Volkswagen noises, that little high-pitched whistle that was so much a part of the Volkswagen experience. Might just open the quarter light just for a bit of ventilation to stop us steaming up. The heater output is sort of there, but it's not exactly mind-blowing. Gathers pace and hurls itself down the road surprisingly well, I think, for a little 1200. 34 brake horsepower, so only 1 brake horsepower more than a Citroen Diane or Ami. That doesn't sound impressive, but like I say, this has actual torque. Left-hand drive, so it does ruin my sight lines a bit on these left-hand turns. These roads are shocking, boy. So of course, famously, the Volkswagen was developed under the Nazi regime. Adolf Hitler wanted his strength through joy machine, the KDF wagon, and Ferdinand Porsche employed to deliver on that promise. Ferdinand Porsche had already developed similar themes for NSU, but NSU decided to step out of car production for a time. Of course, it is said that Porsche was very much inspired by the work of Hans Ledwinker. He worked for Tatra, and he admitted, you know, we looked over each other's shoulder, because Tatra also very much into torsion bar suspension, air-cooled rear-mounted engines, and I believe there was a settlement at some point to try and address the wrong that was felt to be done there. I don't know. I mean, engineers are always looking at each other and each other's work, so I don't think he stole the idea, but there's no doubting he was definitely inspired by it. Out the way, pigeon! Don't know if Herbie's carnivorous or not. But of course, one of the great ironies is that this car, developed by the Nazis, one of the more unpleasant regimes in history, I'm going to say, became beloved by hippies in America and became a symbol of love, hence the love bug being the first of the Herbie films. Oh, this is lovely. It's a very different driving experience. Maximum power is at only 3,600 revs, so these cars had a reputation for reliability, but mostly came from the engine being very under-stressed for its capacity. Like I say, half the capacity in a Citroen got you the same power, but definitely not the same torque. Because the engine's way at the back, it's actually really peaceful in here. You think America, I think when these cars were current in the 60s, still had the double nickel speed limit of 55 miles an hour, which I'm just approaching now. Yeah, you would do 55 miles an hour in this car all day quite happily. It's peaceful and feels surprisingly refined, unlike the roads, which feel absolutely terrible. Oh, the wipers are speeding up a bit now. They're getting in the swing of things. Are they 2-speed? No, just the 1-speed. But in terms of production numbers, it took 10 years from the end of the Second World War until the millionth Beetle was made, which is quite extraordinary. And then by the time German production ended in, I think, 1977. They'd made 15 million of them. Of course, the Beetle went on to have a life in South America, built in Brazil and Mexico. And the last Mexican Beetle wasn't made until 2003, by which time I think 21.5 million had been made. That's crazy. This is such a jolly car to drive. I must concede, I didn't really get Beetles. I went down the 2CV route. My cousin went into Beetles, and I do remember riding around in the back of her 1303, which I think was called Herbie because they all were. And I just remember the sights and the sounds and the smell of the vinyl. It's all flooding back. We even went to a bug jam, but I was not to be dissuaded from my 2CV needings. Slightly wary of that rear engine layout as we corner. Never lift off. Simple swing axles at the back. Yeah, this just feels so solid and robust. It is a very different feeling to a 2CV. But yeah, so relaxing because you can just keep it in top gear. Just use the torque. So that is why they found favour in America. It's so simple to drive as well. It's not a huge size, so it's not like one of the American land yachts. So yeah, very appealing package. Oh, fun little car. Oh no. Oh, Herbie. Oh, I love road tests with characterful cars. Herbie, what's going on? Herbie's gone bananas. I need to find somewhere to pull over, or I soon will not be able to see. Oh, that's loose connection territory, isn't it? Are you going to behave, Herbie? Should we do 0 to 60? Oh, no, the wipers are going to go. No, we're back. Herbie says 0 to 60 is a really bad idea. Yeah, I'm abandoning the 0 to 60 because the wipers are not entirely with us. It's like intermittent wipers before their time. Never worked with film stars, eh? Blooming divas. Well, there we go. I'm never working with film stars again. Herbie's wipers went bananas. But apart from that, such a lovely car to drive. I have been guilty of overlooking Beetles and thinking they weren't as good as they should be, purely because I looked at the power output for the engine size. But the way it delivers the power is just lovely. So yeah, a really pleasant car to drive. I'm glad I finally ticked this one off the box. So thank you very much to Tim for letting me drive this lovely example, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.